Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and I've never met a Belgian.
But you have met a Soviet Belgian. Hello. I can't do it with a straight face. I am so sorry. Hi, I'm Europe Scalo 8. I am not from Soviet Belgium.
You're a racist. Anyway, this is a Eurovision debate. How do we intro?
Yay! You're a tree and I'm a balloon.
But I'm Slovenia. And you're Belgium. That's kind of the joke here.
Yes. Yes. Quite.
Yeah!
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 Oh my god!
Look at her butt.
I'd rather not.
Can we just
start
the debate? Because this is dumb.
I know. You said it, not me. Anyway, who's going first?
I don't know.
Should we do heads and tails to determine who goes first?
Well, you've already flipped the coin, so... Well, I could just throw this lemon at you.
Tails! You're going first.
Bing!
Go!
Wait, what? Wait, hang on, don't start the timer yet.
Hang on, okay. Okay. I accidentally started the timer. I do apologise, dear viewers.
We'll restart the timer then. You could just restart the timer, you know.
I have restarted it. Anyway, are you ready?
Jesus Christ, woman. Okay, count me in.
3, 2, 1. Wah!
Slovenia! It is a country that exists. It's a lot smaller than I thought, to be fair, but it is quite possibly my favourite Eurovision country of all time in the history of forever, at least up to this point. They have... Okay, their history of the contest has been a bit weird. Their best placing, admittedly, was only 7th place, which they achieved in 1995 and then 2001. And then, since then, they've kind of not fared quite so well. They've only been in the final a grand total of 3 times so far, but things looking promising for them this year. They're one of the favourites to do well because of the genius that is Ray, who spells his name with 2 A's. And he's really been getting around because he wrote this year's entry and last year's entry and their entry in the junior contest, and they're all good. And Slovenia, yay. But yes, while I will concede that Slovenia... They're not too brilliant with the contest when it comes to results, because last year they had the brilliance that was Tinkara Kovac and round, and it ends up coming second last, but it's the thought that counts. And they came third in the semi-finals in 2011 with Maya Kitz, who then went on to achieve notoriety by just being the ultimate fanwank of online song contests with Close to You, which I've referenced in one of my other videos. Go and find it, I'll give you a cookie, except I won't. Anyway, Slovenia, they first appeared in 1993, but they were also represented by Yugoslavia, and 4 of the 27 artists for Yugoslavia were from Slovenia. And yeah, I suppose it makes sense that they were part of Yugoslavia, because Yugoslavia, South Slavic, and Yugo is like South in Slovenian. Yay, Slovenia! They've experimented with different languages as well. They've only ever done Slovene or English, but then there were other Yugoslavic languages. That's the word, isn't it? When they were part of Yugoslavia, so... Yeah, that they missed 94 and 2000, but apart from that, they've been pretty solid in their presence. 20 participations, 12 finals is... I'd say that's a pretty strong case for Slovenia. Is my time up yet? Because this feels like I've been going for 5 minutes.
Yes, your time is up. That is the funky flute. Funky flute of fun. Yay! F cubed. Anyway, so, now I have 2 minutes to explain why Belgium is the best at the cheese. Because they have chocolate that looks like boobs. Anyway.
Well, you could get that here, though. I'm not sure whether I should be flattered or insulted that the counterpart to that is chocolate penises, but I believe... That with the penises you get more chocolate per item than you do with the boobs. So, is that flattering, or is that, women just deserve more chocolate, or, well... You know what, this is a weird thread of thought. Just feel free to interrupt me at any point here.
We do deserve more chocolate, but that's beside the point. Anyway!
The word I was looking for was androsexual. Anyway, are you ready to explain why Belgium is the fruitiest slice of the European pie? So, begin saying words in 2, the one that's before 2, the one that's after 2, go.
Belgium! They have participated in the Eurovision Song Contest since 1956. They were one of the 7 founding members of the contest, and they have participated in almost every edition. Granted, they weren't there in 1994, 1997, or 2001, but they've participated in a lot of editions. I'm making it sound like an online song contest. A lot of years since then. Granted, their highest placing was first in 1986 with the youngest ever winner, Sandra Kim, but this was before the Junior Eurovision Song Contest was a thing, so she will remain the youngest winner to ever exist. So yeah, they have won first placing, 4 second placings, and granted we do have quite a lot of last placings sprinkled throughout the years of participation. Bless you. And Belgium was the person that brought Barbara Dex into fruition and relevancy because she participated for them in 1993. Granted, she was one of these last places that was sprinkled throughout the years, and we have only qualified to the final twice since semi-finals were a thing. But we have high hopes this year with Loic Notet. I can't pronounce foreign names, I'm sorry. With Rhythm Inside, and that's a good song. It's not favourite to win by bookmakers, I don't think, but it's favourite of a lot of people that watch the contest, so yay! And our highest placing, it was first from the semi-finals in 2010, and then they went on to achieve 6th place in the final overall. That was Tom Dice with him and his guitar. And the only other time we've qualified, we've come 5th in the semi-finals to finish 12th overall. That was Roberto Valorosa. Is that time?
You can stop now.
Yay!
Yes. That was a really shitty whistle on my part, but yeah.
Oh my.
Oh,
I feel like I said a lot.
Yes, you said a lot of things, and I don't know about you, but I take notes while you're saying things so I know what I'm rebutting.
I listen intently.
I listen intently and make notes, so therefore I automatically win because I'm the best at debating. Says the guy who accused Italy of doing butt stuff, said Luxembourg was the best because it was toothpaste. And I don't know, what other bullshit have I come up with to defend my countries?
And João Leboeuf still thinks you're the best at cheese. Anyway.
Well, okay then.
Okay, you have 1 minute to defend Slovenia and say why Belgium sucks, other than, Antwerp and Soviet Miley Cyrus. All jokes aside, 3, 2, 1, wah!
Well, first thing I'm going to point out is, so you said that Loic Notet, not that difficult to say, is a favourite to do well. Well, Slovenia's even favouriter to do even weller, so sit down. Belgium, okay, so Slovenia's not brilliant. They're in this symbiotic relationship with Norway where one qualifies but the other doesn't, although that was broken last year. But Belgium, you qualified twice. I knew you auto-qualified in 2004, but apart from that, you qualified twice, so come on, you're a bit shit. You've come last plenty of times. Your youngest ever winner, she lied about her age to get into the contest in the first place, so technically they could just denounce her victory and say, no, we're going to give it to someone else. And yes, we've been present from the beginning, but Slovenia would have been, but Yugoslavia was a thing, and that's just a whole separate kettle of fish. And you invented Barbara Dex. Is that really something to be proud of, so that we have an award for the shittest dressed singers for every year? Admittedly, you've had a good track record. Well, we have a good record of songs that just didn't necessarily do well.
Funky Flute.
How was that 1 minute, but then the thing before was 2 minutes, which was like 5 minutes, but that was like 30 seconds?
I don't know. Probably because you talk really, really fast and I can't quite decipher what you're saying and everything and cheese and butt stuff. What?
Tell me, did I make some interesting points?
Have you started the timer yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh, didn't even mention that you got 1 point in the semi-finals of 2009, but anyway. So...
at least we did better than the Czech Republic. Oh, that was like 2 episodes ago!
Anyway, directly attacking Slovenistan in 3, 3, 3, go.
Well, you bring up some interesting points there, Tess. Had to start it on a high note. Anyway, so You say that your highest position was 7th. Well, you came first in the semi-final in 1993, but I'm not entirely sure if you count that or not, but it's still a position nonetheless. And since the semi-finals, you have only qualified 3 times. Granted, that's better than Belgium's 2, but still. Anyway, you didn't participate in 1994 or 2000, like you've said. I can't really think of anything else to attack you with, other than you came stone dead last in the semi-finals in 2013 with Straight Into Love, and that was favoured to do well. So, yeah, that was a thing that happened. You have a rather interesting array of entries. 2010, folk rock, who thought that was a good idea? And Love Symphony...
Time! I think we get what you were saying, though, while I molest my pop filter.
So, 1 minute and 30 seconds for closing examination. Anyway, 3, 2, 1...
Well, the points you made are points that existed. I won't say that they're necessarily interesting or whatever it is you say, but... So we qualified 3 times to Belgium's 2. That may only be a difference of 1 final, but that's still a difference of 1 final. So sit down. And we've had somewhat of a spotty presence. Well, so have you. Stone dead failure in 2013. Yeah, well, at least we didn't fail as hardcore as Patrick Copycat O'Shen in 2009. 1 point, 17th place. Was that only saved by the Czech Republic coming last? I don't even know. And 2007, the KMGs, Love Power. What were you thinking? So, yeah, you said we have a good spread of styles, and that's true. Belgium does as well, in fairness, but styles that don't really work, like ballads when they're not appropriate, like 2014 and 12, and a cappella which never works, 2011, although admittedly I did like that song, and the very bad taste Copycat, 2009, the made-up language of 2008, which was just awkward and silly. And it worked in 2003, but it did not work in 2008. Kate Ryan, Tip to Win, came 12th. Then 2005, that's just Le Grand Soir. That was just a terrible song in general, because it was just boring. And the last time you did anywhere near decent, you had to sing in made-up language. What's wrong with you? So yes, you have variety, and this year you're ripping off Lord. Congratulations.
Yes.
But some of my points are sarcastic applause. Although it's a good song, though, I will concede that. And get good with your grammar. It should be My Guitar and I.
Hi, Tom Dice, if you're watching. Take note in grammar.
To be fair, Rustam Karimov, I think it was, for Azerbaijan in the junior contest, made the same fuck up, so... Which is another point. At least Slovenia are still in the junior contest.
Are they, though?
Yes. Debut 2014, they'll be here again this year. In Belgium, you threw a hissy fit and withdrew after 2013.
I don't think they threw a hissy fit. I think they had a...
Or was it 2012?
No, they participated in 2012 with Abracadabra.
Yeah, and then 2013 was their first absence.
Yeah.
But I suppose in their song for 2012, I know he's singing in Dutch or Flemish or Belgian, but it sounds a lot like he's saying, I am so gay for you, abracadabra. And that defends Slovenia somehow. Anyway, you have 1.5 minutes to defend your Belgian booty in 1, 1, 1, go.
Well, you make some really interesting points there, Tess. Again. Keeping a tradition going strong and well indeed. Well, I was going to say before I ran out of time that you nearly got disqualified. Well, I don't know if you got disqualified, but you had to change your entry in 2009 because Quartessimo was an instrumental and it had to have lyrics in there, so you just shoehorned in some lyrics to make it a suitable entry so you didn't have to change it. So, what else can I really say? Well, granted we did fail to qualify in 2009. 1 point, granted. But at least it wasn't stone dead last. Thank you, Czech Republic, for having a worse entry, I guess. Our most successful placing, other than first in the semi-finals, was second in 2003 with a make-believe language. At least we're brave enough to sing in a make-believe language. We have experimented with French and Dutch and English and even make-believe languages. Slovenia just seems to play it safe and either sing in Slovene or in English. Granted, they were part of Yugoslavia and they participated under Yugoslavia with all of the other Yugoslavian languages, but as an independent country, you seem to either stick to Slovene or English or a combination of the two, and I don't know which works well in your favour, so... Yay, I did stuff.
You were saying words and I just had to make you shut up. Stop making valid points.
Just because you're jealous that Zhao will favour you again.
May the Zhao be ever in your favour.
Anyway,
it's time for us to... Well, first of all, if you're watching this and you feel inclined to leave a comment, please do tell us who do you think was the better debatteer, if that's a word.
Obviously,
but yes, I will never not accept comments on these videos saying who you think debated better here. But anyway, time to determine who will be debating for whom next week. Well, we're recording this a bit earlier than we otherwise would because of scheduling reasons, but still. The next debate. Flip that coin.
Heads!
Okay then. Will you be having the first country that I draw or the second?
I will have the first country out of the hat, please, Mr. Hexagons.
Mr. TQ Hexagons.
What does the Q stand for?
Fabulous. You will be debating in favour of Greece.
Yay!
Which leaves me with... Can you hear how vigorously I'm shaking my hat? And that's not even a euphemism. Denmark. Because Denmark begins with a G.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, they're not exactly making it easy for me this year. But anyway, with that, will have all of the being tessellating hexagons.
And this is Soviet Belgium interrupting your transmission just to say bye boo boo.
See you next time.
Bye.